Hi everyone, I'm Trey, and today we're going to talk about the official state symbols of Kansas. But before we do that, we have to ask ourselves, what is a symbol? Well, a symbol is something that stands for something else. Symbols are for communicating things like words or sounds. A symbol stands for things like a thought, command, place, object, or a feeling. Symbols are a part of our everyday lives. If you get a smiley face on your paper, that means that you did a good job. If you see a sign like this, it means that people could be crossing at a crosswalk up ahead. When we think of Kansas, many people will think about the bison or the sunflower. It's because these are symbols that represent our state. And we're going to explore each and every one of them today, so get ready! In 1861, we get our first official state symbol, the state seal of Kansas. We can see a bunch of symbols in the seal, like a rising sun, a log cabin, a steamboat, Native Americans, and a farmer plowing a field. And there are 34 stars at the top, symbolizing that Kansas was the 34th state. Ad astra per aspera means to the stars through difficulties in Latin, symbolizing how hard it was for Kansas to become a state. When people think of Kansas, many think of the sunflower. It's even on our state flag. There are many species of sunflowers in Kansas. Native sunflowers can grow up to 15 feet tall. Sunflowers can adapt to different types of soil and are very important to many creatures like bees, butterflies, mammals, birds, and insects. They are also beneficial to humans for food, and oil can be made from their seeds. Kansas is known as the Sunflower State. Before we had a state flag, we had a state banner. It was hung horizontally and had the name of the state and the state seal surrounded by a sunflower. The banner was simplified in 1953 to a sunflower with a blue background, and it looks like this. The state flag contains the state seal with a sunflower over a bar that is both gold and light blue. In 1961, the flag was modified to have Kansas written on the flag. Later, the design of the state seal, as portrayed on the flag, was altered just a little bit. I bet you didn't know that Kansas has a state march. The Kansas March became the official state march of Kansas in 1935. Its composer was Duff E. Middleton. A second state march was eventually added, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Over 121,000 school children voted for the western meadowlark to become the state bird of Kansas. The western meadowlark is yellow, black, brown, and white, and has a black V on its chest. It eats insects, seeds, and grains. Kansas isn't the only state to claim the meadowlark as its state bird. Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Oregon, and Wyoming also have the western meadowlark as their state bird. The cottonwood tree is also sometimes called the eastern cottonwood. The tree is found in every county in Kansas, and while it likes moist areas to grow, it can grow in drier conditions as well. The tree grows fast and can grow up to 100 feet tall. The tree has many uses, both past and present. Early settlers used it for buildings, and today it is used for shipping crates and pallet boxes, and the pulp for paper purposes. Home on the Range was originally written by Smith County, Kansas resident Brewster Higley in the early 1870s. It was later set to music by Daniel E. Kelly. Higley's poem was called My Western Home. The song would go on to be sung by cowboys and used widely even into modern times. Home on the Range was our 32nd president, Franklin D. Roosevelt's favorite song. The American bison, or American buffalo, is the state animal of Kansas. It is now also the national mammal of the United States. The bison was incredibly important to the native peoples of Kansas as a source of food, clothing, tools, and shelter. The bison is a large animal, approximately 6 feet tall, and can weigh over a ton. They're also fast when they need to be. The species, once in danger of extinction, now numbers in the hundreds of thousands thanks to the efforts of conservation. The honeybee is an important pollinator that produces honey. Honey is created by the insects for food for the hive, but they produce much more than they actually need. This overproduction allows humans to enjoy a tasty treat. In 1976, school children made a petition asking for the honeybee to be the state insect of Kansas. The ornate box turtle is the state reptile of Kansas. These turtles can live to be over 30 years old, and they make their homes in prairies and pastures. They are protected in several states, including Kansas. In Kansas, there's a law against removing turtles from the wild and keeping them as pets. Believe it or not, Kansas has an official state soil, Harney silt loam. Some people consider soil one of Kansas's most valuable resources, since it supports the state's top industry, agriculture. It's the most common soil in Kansas, and many crops are grown upon it. Although Kansas had made the Kansas March the official state march of Kansas in 1935, in 1992, an additional state march was added to the list called Here's Kansas. Here's Kansas was composed by Bill Post. In March of 1993, a second grade class at Wichita, Kansas's OK Elementary School got the ball rolling to make the barred tiger salamander the state amphibian. Through much work and many learning opportunities for the students, it was officially made the state amphibian in April of 1994. The barred tiger salamander has a tiger-like look due to the yellow spots on its body. While its adult life is spent on land, its larval stage is completely aquatic. Little bluestem is a grass that's native to all of Kansas and a majority of North America. It can grow up to 5 feet tall and is a great source of food for animals such as cattle and bison. It has bluish-green or grayish-green blades in early summer, such as May and June, and by July it develops flowering stalks. Kansas has 2 state fossils, one of which, the pteranodon, was a flying reptile with a large wingspan of around 12 to 18 feet. It was not a dinosaur, but a pterosaur. Kansas provides the most complete specimens of pteranodon found, and they were part of the system in and around the Western Interior Seaway in the late Cretaceous period. The second state fossil is the Tylosaurus, the state marine fossil. It was a large lizard that lived in the sea and grew up to around 45 feet long. Like the pteranodon, the Tylosaurus wasn't a dinosaur, it was a mosasaur. Greenhorn limestone was made the state rock of Kansas through the work of an Overland Park 4th grader, Casey. Limestone is a sedimentary rock made from the skeletal remains of tiny sea organisms. It's often used for building materials. Sometimes you'll see fence posts made out of it. That 4th grader Casey didn't just stop at Greenhorn limestone. Casey also helped Kansas get a state mineral, galena. Galena, a lead ore, has not only been mined in Kansas, but also used throughout history, including ancient Egypt. Now, if you thought Casey stopped at the state rock and state mineral, well, you're sadly mistaken. Casey also helped Kansas get a state gemstone, gelonite. Gelonite amber, once called kansanite, has only been found in Ellsworth County, Kansas, in no other location. The channel catfish is extremely common in Kansas and is a fish that is typically around 2 to 4 pounds, although in more rare cases, it can be 10 to 20 pounds or even more. Although Kansas has made history with prohibition, or the banning of the production or sale of alcohol in the 20th century, it has a rich history of vineyards. In 1901, there were 5,000 acres of vineyards in the state. Vignole was made the state white wine grape in 2019. It produces a variety of wines from sweet to dry. Also in 2019, Chambourcin, a French-American hybrid, was made the state red wine grape. In 2022, Kansas added the sandhill plum as its newest state symbol, the state fruit. Sandhill plums, also known as Chickasaw plums, grow up to 20 feet tall and 20 feet wide in dry, sandy soil. The fruit ripens at the end of summer and is commonly used in jellies. The state land fossil, Sylvosaurus chondrei, or woodland lizard, was added as an official state symbol in 2023. It was a medium-sized armored plant eater that lived from the early to late Cretaceous period and is the only known dinosaur from Kansas. Sylvosaurus chondrei is named after the rancher who found the fossils in Ottawa County in 1955.